What is going on, guys? Serious HD here, along with Vexa,
What's up, guys?
Alfredo,
What's up?
Sync,
What's up, guys?
and Reaper
Hello.
from the Cryptic development team, showing you guys how to code in C#. Now, this is the second video in the series. If you haven't seen the first one, go check it out. If you're on YouTube, check it out. It'll be in the playlist along with this video. If not, if you're on the website, it should be right above you. And if you are somewhere else, I don't know why you're somewhere else. Get to the website. I strongly recommend that you go and watch that video first because it's important. It's got a lot of the information that you're going to need. It's also got the IDE that we're working in, which is Visual Studio. So in this video, we're going to learn how to declare our own methods, similar to the main method, and we're also going to learn how to use variables throughout our program. First off, we're going to need a workspace to work in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up Visual Studio. If you don't have Visual Studio installed, you should have it installed if you watched the last video. We're going to go ahead and we're going to close the start page, make a new project, make sure it's Visual C#, Windows, console application. We're going to name, make sure it's also in your C# folder. If you don't have one, make one, because this is where we're going to store all our projects. And we're going to name it. Pretty much, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it variables and methods. And methods. Okay. So we're going to let that build. Your computer might be a bit slower than mine. Just a bit. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to import the console so we can be lazy.
Yeah.
I love being lazy. Lazy's fun. Okay. So now that we got our workspace set up, I'm gonna go ahead and save this so if anything happens, it doesn't freak out. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start talking about variables. So variables are basically these things where you assign values to them and you can call them anywhere in your program. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can call them wherever they're defined, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab some variables from my notes really quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and drop those in here. You guys can go ahead and type them out and copy along as we explain what each of them are. So basically variables are just these things that you can assign values to throughout the program. You use them so you can reference them over and over again so you don't have to keep typing the value in every time. Also, you can use them for if statements and stuff, which we'll talk about in the next video. So I'm going to go ahead and I have these variables copied in here. You can go ahead and start copying them down if you want while we explain basically what these variables are. So
what's an int?
So an int is basically just a whole number that is either positive or negative. It's just an integer, basically. So it's pretty basic. It can only store a certain, up to a certain value or down to a certain value. So yeah.
Alright, so I'm looking at a double, and it looks pretty similar to an int. What's the difference between those?
Okay, so a double is just like an int, except you can put a decimal place after it. So we could say like 420.1337 if we wanted to. And that would be different from the int version of 420. And that basically, yeah, so any kind of decimal you want, we can do that. We can also use a float, but we're not going to worry about that because floats are garbage.
Alright, so what if I wanted to make a double an int?
Okay, so if you wanted to make a double an int, you're going to have to do something a little bit special. Now, obviously, we know that a double has more precision than an int because it can record decimals and stuff. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an example. Basically, anytime you want to convert a data type to another data type, you're going to do something called casting. And we're going to go ahead and do it here. I is equal to the int version of d. You're just going to put parentheses, and then you're going to put the type of data you want, and then you're going to put the actual value. You can't do this with everything. Obviously, if we put string, it would go crazy. So obviously, we can't do that. But for most numbers, you can convert somewhat like this. So if we wanted to go from a double, or no, I'm sorry, from an int to a double, we wouldn't actually have to do this because doubles are more precise than an int. So we could just say d is equal to I and it would be fine.
All right.
Okay, that's cool. But I heard that int can handle really big numbers. Is that true?
Yeah, it is actually. So an int can only handle up to 2 to the 31st power, which is a huge number to us. But to the computer, it's really tiny. And so we have another data type at our disposal called a long. Just like an int, except for bigger numbers. It can go all the way up to 2 to the 63rd. And for some of you guys who already know code, obviously I know that it's 2 to the 63rd and then minus 1, but we're not going to worry about that for the sake of this video.
Okay, so all these numbers are cool and stuff, but what if I wanted to say something like, what's up?
Well, then you would use something like a string or a char.
What's a char?
A char is basically any character that you would see on your screen. So basically it could be like a W or an H or an A.
So like the alphabet and numbers and stuff, right?
Yeah, and any character that you see on your screen. So anything that you would see in like a text box or something, you can put as a char.
Okay, cool. So what is that string that you were talking about?
So a string is basically just like a bunch of characters, except it's not. It's actually just an array of characters. So the way we define this is by saying string, then your name, and then we're just going to say double quotes, and then type whatever text you want. And then we're going to put the end quotes, and we're going to go ahead and close it off with our semicolon, because we always close off C# statements with a semicolon. Alright, so that's it, right?
Now, what is a bool?
Oh, a bool? Yeah, I almost forgot about that because it's so simple. All it is a true or false value. It's basically used for only like if statements and that kind of stuff, which we will learn in the next video. So,
Awesome. So how do we use all these? We just write them down or something?
basically, we can incorporate these into our programs to do various different things. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some basics examples of some of the stuff we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and copy paste some of this stuff from my notes. You guys can type it out as you're following the video, but I just don't want to do all this. I just actually deleted what we needed. Alright, let's go ahead and delete that, and we'll go ahead and paste that in there. Alright, so what we do here, I'll go ahead and read what we're actually doing. I is equal to I plus the int value of D. So basically we're going to cut off this decimal when we're actually reading it here. So it's going to be 69 and 420. So then we're going to go ahead and it's going to say I is equal to I plus L. Whenever you see plus equals, just think of it as I is equal to I plus whatever's over here. So L is 1337, so we're going to go ahead and add 1337I. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to write string S, then the char, then a new line. This is basically just an escape character. Obviously you can't hit enter or the compiler would freak out. So you're just going to use \n whenever you want to write a new line character. I is going to be the number, then some extra text to make some of this wrap together, and then our bool value. And then we're going to make it pause so it doesn't exit the program. Let's go ahead and run this. And hey, what's up world? 1826 is a good year to be true. So it doesn't make any sense, but it's okay because it did what it needed to. So that's a basic example of some variables and stuff. Let's not move to Chicago, whatever that meant. Okay.
Okay, cool, but there's one thing. I'm very lazy. Is there some way that I can do this without typing the read key every time?
Yeah, there actually is. So that's going to lead us into methods. Now, obviously, for just read key, there's no point because read key is a method. But we're going to go ahead and define our own method for something. So you know how whenever you run command prompt, you know how it'll say, whenever you're done, it'll be like, press any key to continue. What if we want to do that in C#? Well, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to type private static. You guys will learn what all this means later. Don't worry about it. So just type all this, and then we're going to type pause because that's what we want it to do. Then we're going to go ahead and put our braces. Make sure you do this outside of the main method. Make sure you look at these, and these are not around this because otherwise you're going to get a bunch of errors, and you're going to wonder what's going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to write a line saying new line. We're going to go ahead and pad this in new lines. Press any key to continue. It'd help if I could type, you know, any at all in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Now that we've got all that, we're going to go ahead and tell it to read key. I seriously can't type. Okay, so once all that's done, now it'll do this, both of these, whenever we tell it to do this. So it'll say, for example, if we say pause, it's going to say press any key to continue, and it's going to wait. So let's go ahead and test that out. Hey, and it works. So now that we have our little pause, and we will be using that through several other episodes, we'll be evolving it slowly. It'll be kind of one of those things that we stick with, but we'll be using these throughout a lot of the other episodes, so go ahead and like memorize this. You don't actually have to. You can just, you know, write it down somewhere, but it's helpful. So now that we know the basics and stuff, let's go ahead and make a program to do something. So obviously this does something, but it's not something relevant. It doesn't really do much. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something else. I just copy pasted this from my notes. So if you want to, you can go ahead and copy this down. Just pause the video, copy it down. All right, once you're done copying it down, go ahead and we are going to start working on the actual code. So these are all just different values and stuff that we have. Obviously, they're all equal right now. And we're going to have r equals false. So we can, you know, change it if we want. And then we've got our two divisor symbols. We're just going to tell it basically number 1 is equal to a divided by c. Number 2 is equal to b divided by d. Now, if you notice, one's an int, one's a double. And that's going to be really important in a minute. So, now we're saying r equal is equal to number 1 equals to number 2. Now, if you're wondering why we're using two equal signs, it's because this means that we're checking to see if the two values are equal to each other, not saying number is equal to number 2. This is the assignment one. This says that a specific variable is in a specific state. And this is asking, like, okay, is number 1 equal to number 2? Once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some stuff with the data we have. I'm going to go ahead and copy paste from my notes because I don't want to type all this out. Basically, we're just going to read through it really quickly. It's going to say a divided by c is equal to number 1. B divided by d is equal to number 2. Then it's going to say number 1 and number 2 are equal. Then it's going to say if the statement's a lie or not. And then it's going to pause, and it's going to do all that. So, let's run the program. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. That's true. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. That's also true. 2 and 2 are equal. This statement is true. Press any key to continue. And it clears it out and says thanks for watching. So, that's the basic program. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to try something different. Let's do 9, because we know 9 divided by 5 is not a pretty number. I mean, it is, but it's not that pretty. Alright, so 9 divided by 5 equals 1. Wait a minute. 9 divided by 5 is not 1. Why does it say 1? The reason it actually says 1, guys, is because we're using ints. Don't forget the first one are ints. So when we're talking about ints, we can't have decimals, so we can't really say, you know, 9 divided by 5 equals 1.8. We can only say 9 divided by 5 equals 1, because only 1 5 fully goes into 9. Now we're going to do the doubles, and we have the 9 divided by 5 are equal to 1.8. 1 and 1.8 are not actually equal, so this statement is false. And there you go, guys. That's a basic program in C#. It's not the best example, but that's because we actually don't have much to work with. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video, guys. That's a basic program in C#. In the next video, we're going to be working with if statements and that kind of stuff. And if you guys are finding this video helpful at all, let us know by leaving a like. And in the comment section below, if you have any questions, let us know, or you have any feedback, let us know, and we will take that into consideration. The next video will be uploaded Monday, and if it's already uploaded, then just go ahead and click on it. thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.
Let it go.